Hi everyone, very good evening and welcome back to Grade B. So today we are going to cover a short topic, right? And we'll be seeing the influence on your insurance sector. So let us start with the question answers. So number one, we have the question of how did the COVID-19 pandemic impact the different insurance sector? So when the question asks like this, first thing first you need to remember that you have to divide your answers in parts as per the insurance sector wise. If there are three sectors of insurance, you have to clearly include different paragraphs onto them. You have to tell that yes, these are the possible impacts, right? And obviously you have to start with an introduction, go on to the body of the question, and you have to address the different sectors, impact onto it, and follow it up with a conclusion. Needless to mention that in each of your paragraphs, if you have any sort of credible data, you can include it, right? So that will add the value into your answers. So this is what we'll be talking about. So how did the COVID-19 pandemic impact the insurance sector? Let us see this. First of all, let us see the key pointers in the introduction, that what we can mention in the introduction. So yes, it has significantly impacted individuals as well as the global economy. Then we have mentioned a little data over here. What is the data? Outbreak has already heavily affected the global insurance sector. Global insurance index decreased by 22.6% between 2019 and the April 2020. Okay, share prices has also dropped by 25.9% in the same particular period. Fine. So this is the data with which I have started with my answer. Rest of the is normal thing that you can already understand and read. So that is why I am not focusing on to it. My purpose is to focus on to the data as well as how we should structure our answers, right? Wait. Yes. So number one, we have to see the impact on general insurance. Impact on general insurance will be based on the types of products and the coverage of the insurance that have been offered, right? So motor insurance offers vehicle insurance protection, as there was only few vehicles carrying out only essential operations. Claims of personal and the motor lines, they decreased greatly. Obviously there will be no claims or zero claims. Why? Because the vehicles on the road were too less, and those which were plying, they were having reduced risk of accidents. ठीक है, जब बाकी के vehicles ही नहीं होंगे तो accident का risk कैसा? So this was the impact over the general insurance sector. On the other hand, business continuity perspective were initiating a large volume of claims. So in this line, insurance faced unhealthy losses and had to be kept aware of the potential policy exclusions, etc. So general insurance may you have had business related insurances as well, and in cases of businesses, they were facing heavy losses. So yes, general insurance companies were in profit for this particular sector, but over here they were into the losses, right? So that's why if you see overall, it was a case of mixed scenario, right? So even in general insurance, you cater to the different needs. You talked about motor insurance, motor vehicle insurance in brief. You also talked about the business insurance in brief. Finally, there were some prominent cases where the general insurance, they provided rebates and credits to the individuals due to restrictions. And in the initial phases, the general insurance insurers, they also responded admirably, as the maximum workforce was working remotely from the home. So during this time, insurers also faced lag in work, especially with contract center operations and the third party service providers. So this is the restriction that they faced with relation to the services, right? The kind of services they provide, they were facing problems into it because of the your COVID-19 pandemic. Next is, what was the impact on the life insurance and as well as the pensions? So for life insurances as well as the pensions, let me tell you that government took a lot of burden onto itself. Okay? If you talk about the care that was provided in the hospitals, right? In many government hospitals, etc. Obviously, in all the government hospitals, the care was provided on because the burden was totally taken by the government, and that is why on insurance sector the burden was eased out. So this was the key point that you need to remember. So what was the impact on life insurance and pension? So consumer spending power After COVID-19 pandemic, it reduced significantly, right? Because it affected their employment, economic activities, right? Its adverse effect on the life insurance sector was vibrant. So to prevent a significant number of defaults, insurers are offering payment breaks. See, when you are not having the money to even for eating purposes, how can you think of depositing a LIC policy premium, right? So there was some problems into it, and that's why to cope up with the losses, your life insurance companies, they provided and offered with the payment breaks. Life insurance anticipate that this will result in considerably reduced new business. Other than lower new business volume, increased lapses, the industry also noted a significant drop in the market values as well as the interest rate. Now, what does this impact it? We already talked about that your insurance companies, they do have significant investment, ठीक है, इनका investment होता है. तो अब जब market crash हो रहा है, then the market value as well as the interest rates of their investments also fell down. So this was also a negative impact onto them. Next, talking about the health insurance. Wait. Over here also, to know about the precise impact, it is difficult, but we have to talk it in the other terms. See, in a few, the government mandated private hospitals to redirect their support to the COVID-19 outbreak, whereas in others, they volunteer their support, right? So that is why there was lesser claim volume in the short period, because we talked about that government did provide a substantial level of care during the COVID-19, and that too free of cost. So some may expect credits or rebates as they paid for the private hospitals, but not distinguished from a public patient. So government in the country themselves treated the infected patients with stress of healthy insurers, right? So it took the stress of the healthy insurers. Operationally, health insurers have experienced a few of the some resilience challenge. As with both, health insurance will experience enhanced digital capacity, follow the remote support, etc., etc. So here we are talking about that how they did the mechanisms of coping up, right? उन्होंने cope up करने के लिए क्या क्या mechanisms लिए. But basically the point of matter in case of your health insurance, it remains that government took away majority of the activities, and hence it eased out the burdens on the health insurance providers, and that is what you need to mention. Okay, let's talk about reinsurance. So the good thing for reinsurers were that before the pandemic, they did invested in some illiquid assets, right? And these investments, they helped them to sail through the COVID-19 pandemic, because once COVID-19 pandemic hit, after that the market rates as well as the interest rates, the whole market was in a dwindling position. So they invested before the COVID-19, and hence they were in the better position. The pandemic has same effects on the reinsurers it has on the insurers, right? So the same impact, because ultimately the reinsurers, they are linked with the insurers, right? They are providing them the services. So on life pension business, the reinsurer's loss is loosely dependent on the mortality rates. Loss in the general insurance will be measured by clearly stating the event that has driven the most loss, right? So reinsurers may have to pay certain claims due to pressure from the government, society and the regulations. Health insurance sector will be an exception to certain cases. Rebates were also accepted, right? And that is why the reinsurers also played a large role in managing the impact of pandemic. पैंडेमिक में देखो बहुत सारे लॉसेस हुए, जनरल इंश्योरेंस को भी हुए, लाइफ इंश्योरेंस को भी हुए. सो जब इनको लॉसेस हो रहे हैं, सो अल्टीमेटली दीज लॉसेस हैव टू be shared with the reinsurance companies, right? So that's why they were shared. So to conclude, the market is likely to change significantly in the future. The insurance business in India will bring rising trends like product innovation, multi-distribution, claims management, regulatory changes, etc. So always remember, you have to end the question on a positive note. Okay? You have to talk about positively about the what is the way forward. We as a, what you can say, a thriving young population, we can never give a plain conclusion, right? Number one thing, we can never give a negative conclusion. Your conclusion should always be looking at the future in a positive manner, and it will be very beneficial for you if you can write specifically that in what areas you can see the improvement. जैसे आप यहाँ पे देखोगे, we have specifically written down that product innovation, multi-distribution claims management, these are your keywords. Regulatory changes in the Indian market, these are the key factors that will shape the insurance industry in future. So it is a futuristic conclusion, it is a specific conclusion, right? And it is looking at the future. So these are all the features, right? Now moving ahead, talking about the role of artificial intelligence for Indian insurance sector. So the same formula we are going to follow, right? First of all, there will be an introduction, then there will be the body of the question that will relate to the role of artificial intelligence, and it will be followed up with the conclusion. ठीक है, ये पढ़ना है हमको. So wait. The insurance industry has long relied on data as a foundation of its operational process, right? The evolution has led to incorporation of the AI in the various aspects like customer services, risk management, claims processing, etc. Application of AI in the insurance sector, it has grown significantly in the recent year. It is leading to the numerous areas of exploration. So basically, we have to focus over here. These are the areas where the AI, that is your artificial intelligence, will be applicable. ठीक है, जहाँ पे आप इस टेक्नोलॉजी को यूज कर सकते हैं. Number one, we have data analysis and the pattern recognition. See, this is the world of big data. Every move of yours is representing a data, right? So if I'm surfing on the internet about something that shows that people of my age are searching this particular thing, this is the data that this age category female is searching this, so it generates a preference. If the same thing is being searched by so many people, it will generate a conclusive proof, right? So the same thing we can use in the insurance industry as well. What data analysis is going to do? So it will analyze the large data sets, right? And these data sets will be taken from where? Policyholders information, historical claims, social media, and Internet of Things device. So AI can provide the valuable insights of the potential losses, enabling underwriters to make more informed decisions. Next is risk segmentation for the product personalization. So basically going on in the future, what you can do is you can group the policyholders with similar risk profiles by analyzing the wide range of data from various sources. Now similar risk profiles means same nature of, same level of risk. उन सबको आप एक साथ क्लब कर सकते हो. How you can do it? With the help of technology, right? You do not have to apply your mind. The technology will do it for you. नेक्स्ट इज द क्लेम प्रोसेसिंग एंड मैनेजमेंट. तो यहाँ पे भी हमें आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस का बहुत काम आएगा. नंबर वन, फॉर द क्लेम सेटलमेंट एंड वेल एज द डिसबर्सल एंड द प्रेडिक्टिव एनालिसिस ऑफ द क्लेम्स मैनेजमेंट. प्रेडिक्टिव एनालिसिस ऑफ क्लेम्स मैनेजमेंट क्या? To identify the trends, patterns and the bottlenecks in the claims process. So you can predict that okay, in the next year what are the claims that I can expect. इससे क्या होगा? It will help you in the provision maintenance. आप कितना provision बनाओ, आप कितने reserves लेके चलो, this is what is going to help you. Next is the claim settlement and disbursement. So AI driven automation can streamline the claim settlement process by calculating the compensation among policy coverage, compliance with the regulatory requirements, etc. etc. Next is the fraud detection and the prevention. फ्रॉड डिटेक्शन कैसे हो सकता है? देखो, बिकॉज यू हैव सो मच ऑफ द हिस्टोरिकल डेटा, यू कैन ऑटोमेटिकली एनालाइज, ठीक है, पास्ट में कैसा कैसा हुआ है. बेस्ड ऑन द सेम लाइंस यू कैन सी इफ देयर इज एनी प्रॉब्लम इन द करंट फंक्शनिंग. ठीक है, सिस्टम विल अलर्ट यू ऑटोमेटिकली. आपको अपने आप आपको ऑटोमेटिकली अलर्ट कर देगा दैट सी दिस इज द प्रॉब्लम ओवर हियर, एंड आफ्टर दैट यू कैन फर्दर इन्वेस्टिगेट द ट्रांजैक्शन. अगर सिस्टम आपको अलर्ट करता है कि इस कस्टमर के डेटाबेस में कुछ प्रॉब्लम है, we can sense of something unconventional, right? So in that sense you can go on and check it for the further use. So this is how fraud detection and prevention is one of the uses for your AI. Next is your social networks analysis. So social network analysis, आपका जो social media profiles हैं, right? Through your social media, you can find out that the persons who are involved in the claim, whether there is any correlation between them or not. See, although you might think like that this is not material, but this is. If there is any kind of social connection between those people, then there can be a sense of anomaly over there, and system will automatically alert you about this. Geospatial analysis can be used to verify the location and as well as the timing of the events. Earlier it used to happen that the people would used to pay some fees, or what you can say, not the fees, but yes, they used to give the bribes to the surveyors and to keep the things in their favor. But with the use of the technology, such kind of things can be taken off. And lastly, customer services and support. So chatbots as well as the virtual assistants, they are available 24/7. Any kind of problem, like for example, suppose today I am having any problem with the Paytm, right? So they have a 24/7 chat assistant. Majority of the problems will be solved by that chat assistant. But still, if I am dissatisfied, I can call up to the executive, right? So in this sense, there is so much of a workload that has been taken off from the shoulders of executive. You can just think about it. Next is sentiment analysis. So sentiment analysis can be used to monitor the customer feedbacks, reviews, their concerns, and overall customer satisfaction. That means through the use of technology, you can see that whether you have been able to satisfy your customers, what are the problems that has been generated from the customers, right? क्या customers की तरफ से क्या issues raise किए गए थे, whether you have been able to solve them or not. So all such situations can be discussed by you. Now, as the insurance sector embraces AI, we can expect to see the greater efficiency, personalization, innovation, along with the development of new business model. Ultimately, successful implementation of the AI will depend on the ability to adapt to these particular technological advancements by investing in AI-driven solution. Again, a futuristic conclusion for your conclusion of the answer. And then we'll be discussing about that how does the climate change is affecting insurance industry. Climate change and insurance industry. So first of all, you need to discuss about that what are the climate related threats that you are facing. क्या हैं ऐसे threats and how you can go about them. Let us see. So in the last decade alone, India has faced numerous natural disasters. For example, there were Chennai floods in 2015, Kerala floods of 2018, the Uttarakhand Kedarnath tragedy of 2013, you can mention that as well, Kashmir floods 2014, right? So every year the pattern is changing. Like when we are discussing this particular video, at the same time North India is into the wrath of floods, right? Is facing the wrath of floods. And why this is the case? Because of the because of obviously your climate change. There is a significant portion that can be attributable to the climate change. So sometimes there are deficient rains, and the most hit sector is the agricultural sector. You can see the pricing of the tomatoes. Fine. So 2013 to 2018, there are overflowing rivers in the 2019, and because of that, the basic goods prices have risen to sky high. So the annual losses, they rose between $9 billion to $10 billion. In 2018-19, 2,400 Indians, they lost their lives to the extreme weather events. Meteorological department, they say that these events are increasing in both frequency as well as the intensity. The global temperatures have increased by 0.6 degrees. It is our resolve to keep it up to at least up to 1.5 degrees Celsius, or max to max 2 degrees Celsius. If it went beyond that, then there will be what you can say, you cannot imagine of the consequences that it will bring. So World Bank estimates that if the climate change continues unhindered, average temperature could reach as high as 29 degrees Celsius at the end of the century. Again, a data fact for you, according to the ILO, International Labour Organization, loss in productivity by 2030 because of heat stress could be equivalent to the 34 million full-time jobs, highest among the world's most populous nations, right? So over here, see, whenever there is too much heat, you all know that we are not able to work with our full efficiency. Why? Because we are not in the mental state to perform. So this is the problem that we face during the climate change. Now what are the events? Events like drought, wildfires. So you all understand that what are the consequences of the drought. The data point is, in 1987 and 2002, the droughts affected more than half of India's crop area, and there was huge fall in the crop production. In the northwestern India, it has impacted a little bit more, right? Next is wildfire. In the 2019 alone, 10 major wildfires consumed 24 million acres of natural habitats, and thousands of animals as well as human perished. In previous years, the wildfires has increased. Why it has increased? Because there has been the increased temperatures, and when temperatures increase, a little bit of activity can ignite the fire in the forest. Okay, Australia, USA, they have been hit very widely by the forest fires. What are our current insurance policies which are catering to the catastrophic events? Let us see that. So properties lying beneath the sea level, they can take property insurance. In order to protect oneself from the rising temperatures, we can purchase health insurance. To protect the crop, we have Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, right? And motor insurance, you already know that it is compulsory under the Motor Vehicles Act. So these are the things that are currently available to safeguard you, but there is no more done for the climate change related impact. That means we do not have anything specific for dealing with the climate change related stresses. So for that, this has been justified over here that why can't insurance sector provide the specific coverage. So it has been said over here, see, firstly, nobody is having a control on these climatic events, and at the end of the day they bring huge amount of losses, and if insurance industry started providing the direct coverage for these, then they will not be able to cope up. So because of this, fortifying their assessment while taking long-term actions, using a holistic approach towards managing the climate-related risk, and taking steps to better demonstrate their climate readiness. So these are the things that they can do. Going forward, eventually they will have to provide the services for this as well, but by that time they can build upon their data, they can see that what the best they can do through policy making, through data analysis, right, and making long term targets. This is what they can best do. Insurance industry is, yes, it is critical part of the solution. It is neither the polluter nor the climate policy setter, but it does play a huge role of managing the risk. As a good practice, insurance and the reinsurance should encourage to invest in low carbon assets and divest that are contributing to the global warming. So this is what they can do right now, that please do not invest in such kind of assets which produces carbon and leads to global warming. So this is it that I wanted to discuss today. Very small topic, right? Thank you so much for joining in. I hope you must have enjoyed the lecture.